Hello friend, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I am back with another video to give a review on a book which is Our World, Our Home. As we have completed our 8 chapters in the last videos, but in this video we will continue our next chapter, which is chapter 9, Building a Global Community for Peace and Sustainability. The world has never been more connected, yet decisions between nations, cultures, and ideologies continues to persist. Global challenges such as climate change, economic inequality, and armed conflict cannot be solved by any one nation alone. They require a united effort, a sense of shared responsibility, and a commitment to peace and sustainability. While governments and global institutions have important roles to play in promoting diplomacy, real change starts at the grassroots levels with communities, individuals, and collective action. A global community is not a hypothetical entity. It is a living, dynamic reality that is forged by the decisions we make on a daily basis. Whether through cultural exchange, cross border collaboration, or collective problem solving, individuals across the globe are discovering ways to bridge gaps and work together. Shared objectives. The more we acknowledge our interdependence, the more we can tap into our collective power to create a future that values peace, sustainability, and inclusivity. This chapter examines the value of developing a global mindset, the function of diplomacy, and cross cultural awareness, and the action steps individuals and communities can take to help create a world where cooperation prevails over division. The need for a global perspective. In a time of accelerating globalization, the actions of one country, sector, or community have consequences extending far beyond national borders. The The carbon dioxide emissions generated in one country feed increasing sea levels that imperil small island states on the opposite continent. Economic choices made in financial centers elsewhere affect labor markets and assets in developing countries. A disease that arises in one country can spread across continents in a matter of weeks. The interdependence underscores the necessity of a global mindset, an awareness that what occurs in one region of the world impacts us all. And yet, most societies continue to think, and yet, most societies continue to think in parochial nationalistic way, concerned with local short-term issues while ignoring their global organized obligations. This parochialism has resulted in trade wars, environmental degradation, and political tensions that impede global advancement. Taking a global approach involves understanding that national interests and the well being of the world are not competing concepts. Spending on global cooperation is education and health does not undermine a nation's sovereignty. For instance, countries that invest in renewable energy not only cut their own emissions but also join the world effort to address climate change and the whole world benefits. Equally, fair trade and overseas economic development nations contribute to creating secure markets as well as the eradication of forced poverty motivated migration. At the personal level, at the personal level, accepting a global mind is learning about cultures, histories, and issues that concern people elsewhere in the world. It is endorsing moral business, responsible consumers, creating policies that demonstrate our commitment to peace and sustainability beyond national borders. The role of diplomacy in realizing peace. Diplomacy is the bridge that links nations and enables them to solve conflicts. Enables them to solve conflicts, forge trade arrangements, and cooperate on international challenges. As wars and political rivalries continue to threaten peace, diplomatic action is more vital than ever. Effective diplomacy is able to stop wars, encourage global cooperation, and establish enduring alliances that work to the advantage of all involved. Historically, many of the most important global developments have been made through diplomacy and not through the use of military force. The creation of the United Nations UN following World War II was an indication that the world accepted the idea that dialogue and cooperation are necessary to avoid future wars. Global agreements like the Paris Climate Accord and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty have illustrated that countries could meet and resolve common issues. But diplomacy is never easy. There is mistrust, ideological incompatibility, and economic self-interest that normally stands in the way of negotiation. Some states value short-term political or economic advantage over sustained peace and long-term sustainability, and therefore break promises and stagnate progress. Global agreements like the Paris Climate Accord and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty have illustrated that countries could meet and resolve common issues. But diplomacy is never easy. There is mistrust, ideological incompatibility, and economic self interest that normally stands in the way of negotiation. Some states value short term in the way of negotiation. Some states value short term political or economic advantage over sustained peace and long term sustainability, and therefore break promises and stagnate progress. True diplomacy involves transparency, respect for each other's interests, and a determination to seek areas of commonality even when national interest appears to collide. In addition to governmental diplomacy, citizen diplomacy, the activity of individuals, organizations, and companies working towards international understanding, has a pivotal role in constructing global relations. Cultural exchange programs, business cooperation, academic alliances, and people to people peace initiatives all help create understanding and decrease tension between countries. When individuals are directly connected on a personal basis with individuals of other backgrounds, it is more difficult to regard others as enemies and easier to identify areas of commonality. The strength of cross cultural understanding. Prejudice and misunderstanding are among the greatest barriers to world unity. Most conflicts, both international and personal, are the result of ignorance about other cultures, religions, and lifestyles. Fear and distrust feed on ignorance, but cooperation and empathy develop through understanding. strength, cross cultural understanding is the basis for peace. When individuals are exposed to other points of view and traditions, they come to appreciate diversity and feel a stronger sense of global citizenship. Education is the primary vehicle in this transformation. Schools that use multicultural curricula enable students to transcend their own cultural world and learn to interact with people of all backgrounds with respect. Travel, foreign language acquisition, and exchange programs further promote cultural sensitivity so that people can interact with other societies directly. Media and entertainment. Also, entertainment also influence cultural representations. Regrettably, popular media tends to perpetuate stereotypes more often than it subverts them. Film, television, and media often present a limited, at times inaccurate view of specific areas or ethnic communities, perpetuating myths and prejudices. Positive representation of diversity in the media. Where various cultures are accurately and respectfully represented, can help disperse prejudices. Social media is a strong vehicle for cross cultural exchange as individuals from various corners of the globe are able to communicate face to face. Yet it does pose issues including the proliferation of disinformation and cultural appropriation. For genuine cross cultural understanding, then online exchanges must be undertaken with an inquiring, respectful, and open mind for education, not judgment or defensiveness. These small but significant acts contribute to a world where differences are embraced, not feared. The role of global institutions. Global institutions such as the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the International Monetary Fund play vital roles in coordinating response to global crisis. Whether it is responding to humanitarian disasters, setting sustainability goals, or mediating diplomatic conflicts, these institutions provide a forum for global cooperation. Nonetheless, global institutions are confronted with major challenges such as bureaucracy, limited finances, and political interference. Setting sustainability goals or mediating diplomatic conflicts, these institutions provide a forum for global cooperation. Nonetheless, global institutions are confronted with major challenges such as bureaucracy, limited finances, and political interference. Global institutions are confronted with major challenges such as bureaucracy, limited finances, and political interference. It is argued by some critics that these institutions are controlled by the powerful nations and do not always serve the interests of smaller developing nations. In order for global institutions to be effective, they need to be inclusive, open, and responsive to the changing needs of the world. Grassroots activism and non governmental organizations also contribute significantly to global transformation. Organizations like Amnesty International, Greenpeace, and Doctors Without Borders exist outside government institutions, pushing for human rights, environmental conversation, and humanitarian relief. These organizations tend to supplement where governments are close to the needs and experience of the people they act on behalf of. One of the most one of the most motivating things about grassroots activism is that it can rally people towards a common purpose. The United States civil rights movement, the anti apartheid movement in South Africa, and the Fridays for Future climate protests all started as grassroots movements that went on to shape national and international policies. One of the most motivating things about grassroots activism is that it can rally people towards a common purpose. The United Civil Rights Movement, the anti apartheid movement in South Africa. Indigenous peoples have spearheaded movements to save forests, rivers, and biodiversity at their own personal peril. The Standing Rock demonstrations against the Dakota Access Pipeline in the United States and the ongoing campaign to protect the institutions are lacking, offering direct services to those needing them. Cooperation among governments, international institutions, and civil society movements is vital to breaking the global problems of our day. Through an alliance of government resources and cloud with the energy and creativity of civil society, the world can create positive change that serves everyone. The power of grassroots movements. While international organizations and governments establish policies and frameworks for global cooperation, real change often begins at the grassroots level. Grassroots movements, initiatives led by local communities, activists, and volunteers have long been instrumental in bringing about social, environmental, and political change. In contrast to top down policy, which may be slow to be implemented and disconnected from what is happening on the ground. Grassroots movements, Amazon rainforest are prime examples of grassroots environmental activism. Technology has magnified the reach of grassroots movements, and activists are able to reach each other and establish global solidarity across borders. Social media enables local struggles to find global visibility, drawing support from people, organizations, and governments around the globe. Crowdfunding also has become an indispensable weapon, offering funds to maintain activist campaigns that otherwise may not be able to gain resources. Yet, such people's movements frequently encounter problems such as state repression, disinformation campaigns, and financial constraints. To succeed, these movements require mass support in the form of legal cover for activists, exposure through independent media, and coalition building with fellow minded groups. The international community needs to see and celebrate such grassroots initiatives as they are the most direct and effective way of civic action. The role of technology in global cooperation. Technology has transformed how we interact, work, and collaborate, opening up new avenues for international cooperation. Artificial intelligence, data analytics, and digital platforms have facilitated the sharing of knowledge and coordination of activities among nations, organizations, and individuals across boundaries. Yet, as with every instrument, technology has to be applied ethically and inclusively to ensure that it promotes oneness and not separation. Perhaps the greatest manner in which technology has aided global cooperation is by the real time exchange of information. During pandemics, natural catastrophes, and conflicts, instantaneous access to information ensures governments, humanitarian actors, and health practitioners respond fast and effectively. The COVID-19 pandemic saw the efficacy of international data exchange in tracing mutations of the virus, the formulation of vaccines, and responses in managing the spread of the pandemic at a global level. Yet another field where technology is facilitating cooperation is education and knowledge sharing. Virtual conferences, online learning websites, and collaborative academic associations have made it possible for students and scholars from around the globe to receive quality education and contribute to scientific research. Institutions and universities now cooperate in research studies dealing with topics such as renewable energy, food security, and the ethics of artificial intelligence, bringing together expertise from various backgrounds. But technology also poses threats that it can impede international cooperation. The digital divide is still an obstacle, most areas not having good internet access and digital literacy. Cyber threats, disinformation, and extremism on the internet also threaten stability and trust online. To ensure that technology maximizes its potential, international rules and ethical standards must be set in place to promote equitable access, avoid abuse, and safeguard online freedoms. By, by prioritizing inclusive and ethical digital policies, the world can harness technology to build a more connected and cooperative future where knowledge, resources, and solutions are shared for the benefit of all. Creating a shared vision for the future. There can be unless all of humanity shares a common vision of what the future should look like. While various cultures, traditions, and perspectives shape our understanding of progress, there are universal principles that almost all societies subscribe to: peace, justice, equality, and ecological stewardship. One of the greatest challenges in achieving global unity is overcoming short term thinking and political divisions. Many governments and corporations prioritize immediate economic gains over long term sustainability, often delaying action on critical issues like climate change and social inequality. Creating a shared vision for the future requires a shift in mindset from short term policies to intergenerational responsibility. The United Nations Sustainability Development Goals are a framework for this vision, setting out main priorities like eradicating poverty, gender equality, and clean energy. Widespread public involvement is needed to achieve these goals, with individuals, businesses, and policymakers making long term, measurable commitments. Cultural narratives also play a role in shaping collective aspirations. The stories we tell about success, progress, and heroism influence societal values. If the dominant narrative continues to celebrate material wealth and unchecked consumption, sustainability will remain a secondary concern. Instead, societies must redefine success to include environmental responsibility, social equity, and global well being. The media, education, and public institutions must play their part in projecting this new conception of progress so that generations to come develop a sense of global citizenship and shared responsibility. Empowering individuals to take action. Creating a global community is not just up to governments and organizations. Individuals can engage in world change through promoting ethical companies, social media and digital activism has facilitated the ability of individuals to create awareness regarding worldwide causes and network with similar individuals across the globe. Activism, though, needs to extend beyond the cyber world. Offline action, be it through grassroots mobilization, political lobbying, or donations to small local causes, is necessary for actual change. Moving forward together, the destiny of humanity hangs on our capacity for cooperation, laying aside our differences and commitment to general good while there are hurdles to be cleared. The vision of a worldwide community grounded on peace and sustainability is within sight. The greater the investment we make in diplomacy, cross cultural exchange, and people to people cooperation, the more near we approach the world in which no one shall be left behind. It is our responsibility to adopt a global perspective to support policies that foster long term well being, establish relationships founded on trust and mutual respect. Only by unity, cooperation, and shared accountability we can build a future that is both peaceful and sustainable for generations to come. Summary: global problems need global solutions. Through international diplomacy, grassroots efforts, high tech collaboration, and intercultural understandings, human beings can transcend barriers and create a more equitable, sustainable future. Citizens can make a difference by taking action, advocating ethical policies, and creating a common vision of advancement. The way ahead is clear, we must step forward together. So, here we have this chapter 9 is completed. If you like the video, don't forget to press the like button. And if you want to suggest any other book for a review, you can tell me in the comment section. I'll be back with another video to give a review on a book. Till then, just take care and goodbye.